to do is set out that problem. So for me, for my research, energy is wasted. That's it, big picture. It's several steps removed from my own research, but energy is wasted. Or for some people, people suffer from a particular condition. An industry is losing money. We set out a problem, an issue, a gap, or lack, something we don't understand, something that isn't working as effectively as it could be. The next thing we do is we get similarly coloured pieces. Here I've got all the red pieces, I formed a parrot, I put the parrot on into the middle of the jigsaw. What this represents in terms of a research narrative is the collective endeavour. What is it we're trying to do? So energy is wasted, what are we doing about that? People suffer from a particular condition, what are we going to do about that? And this is like a mini literature review. You think about what other people are doing, the papers you read, the conference you go to, and you put them together. So energy is wasted, and researchers are looking at energy harvesting. People suffer from this particular condition, and researchers are looking at new gene therapies. Next, we carry on putting research into the problem, and we start putting individual pieces in, and you would represent an individual piece. This is where you talk about your analysis, your ideas, your experiments, and how that fits into that big problem and that big solution. And you line those three up. Energy is wasted, researchers look at energy harvesting, I look at the scavenging of waste heat. People suffer from a particular condition, researchers look at new gene therapies, I conduct these particular experiments. Now if we carry on putting research into the problem, eventually the problem is solved. We find that jigsaws are surprisingly difficult to find on Google image search. The parrot has gone indoors now and it's winter. And what this represents is the world after the research has been done. We paint a realistic but optimistic view as to where we're going. What are we able to do now? What can we do now that we weren't able to do before? What do we understand now that we didn't understand before? And this isn't a guarantee, but it's a realistic but optimistic view as to where we're going. This is what we hope for. And we line all of these parts of our story up. The problem, the issue, the gap, the lack, what isn't happening that should be, what is happening that shouldn't be. The collective endeavour. What is it that the sector are aiming for? The ambitions, like a mini literature review. What are other people doing? Your piece. The most important part of your story, but we do need some of the previous questions to understand why this is distinctive and why it's important. But what are you doing specifically? And finally, wrapping all up in an ideal world. In 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, what are we capable of doing that we're not currently capable of? And you line all those four pieces up. Energy is wasted. Researchers look at energy harvesting. I look at the scavenging of waste heat so we can live in a more energy efficient world. People suffer from a particular condition. Researchers looking at new gene therapies. I conduct these particular experiments so people are treated faster and more effectively. And it's not about solving big world problems of every single time. It's just about demonstrating that we don't know something. Something isn't perfect. But if we investigate it, we'll have a better understanding. So if you are able to come up with a single sentence for each one of those four questions, you'll have the bedrock of your presentation. If you're then given 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it's a luxurious amount of time to expand on any one of those 4 points. So that's us starting to think about the story. This is us taking our pile of vegetables, breaking it down into just little bits that are important. They might not be delicious, but they're important. I'm going to pause for a second and invite any questions that there might be on that. So if we're talking about breaking down our topic into ideas, are there any thoughts, comments, or questions on that so far?